There are some two questions that I want us to answer in this podcast. Why is the state dispatching moles at Rigathi Gachagwa's hospital room? And why is it that the state wants Rigathi to be discharged very fast? What is the matter, the issue with the sickness of the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua? On Thursday, the country was shocked when the Senate waited for around 20 minutes for the Deputy President to take to dock so that he can defend himself as against the impeachment motion. And remember, as fate, a big coincidence was that he was the sole witness in that impeachment case. The Deputy President did not have any other witness against himself except himself. So he was the witness on his side. And within a minute, it was understood that after he had lunch with his officers at Harambee House, one of the things that happened is the senators, with the senators and some members of his staff, the senators left and went to parliament buildings. Only later on, Rigathi was driven to Karen Hospital. And it was not a convoy, it was just a few other doctors that are there. So one thing that we've really understood is that the state has been trying to comb through the CCTV footages at the Harambee House Annex, which is the last place that Rigathi Gachagua was seen when he met the senators. But that has not really come out. And because there was an effort to try to demystify the narrative that Rigathi Gachagua was sick. Another interesting footage that I've also been seeking is the footage on arrival at the Karen Hospital. But those two footages have not been availed, and I can tell you that we have fellows that are fond of propaganda, and they will get those footages to try to discredit a narrative, to try to discredit Rigathi Gachagua's sickness, because there've been an attempt to disparage that sickness, but because it's a natural phenomenon, it is very delicate on how you will handle, and it will face backlash, because you can share that video and do all that, then the next day you are also sick. So what then happened? Kalonzo Musyoka visited the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in the hospital on Friday afternoon, and he was accompanied by a contingent of politicians from Wiper, DAP, and Jubilee Wing. What we have reliably confirmed is that only a section, a very narrow representation of that leadership managed to get to Rigathi Gachagua's hospital bed, and not more than 3. From that press briefing you saw in Karen, when Kalonzo Musyoka was talking, from all those MPs, senators, and all those leaders that were there, just some 2 leaders, only 2, were allowed to get in and speak and visit the then Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And there has been an attempt to try to ring-fence Rigathi Gachagua's hospital room from hawk-eyed spies and moles that are being planted to pluck some 1 or 2 about Rigathi Gachagua's health. Since Thursday afternoon, the Karen Hospital has been receiving guests seeking to visit the DP in hospital. But apart from that press briefing that was done by Kalonzo, you're yet to see any photo that is taken by any guest. In this podcast, I want to tell you, because reports that are coming is that quite a significant number of visitors that tried to get to visit Rigathi were blocked from accessing, and Rigathi's family have also banned taking photos. There are leaders who got money to see him, and they will attempt to take photos so that those photos can be shared to the country to support us, so that they can see and they can legitimize the sickness. But again, I think that decision, I was just talking to someone around this, and I was telling them that one of the things they should do is to make sure you don't share any photo. Because when you start, for example, if Dorcas Rigathi or someone of one MP shares a photo of Rigathi in the hospital bed, it will open that space for manipulation, and now there will be all manner of photos flying and edited left, right, and center, because that will be an attempt to convince the country that Rigathi Gachagua, about Rigathi Gachagua's health. But that is something that the state do not really want to entertain. So, I think they made the right decision not to take any photo of Rigathi Gachagua in that hospital bed. That is quite in order. Remember when Moses Kuria was sick, was hospitalized in Nairobi Hospital for months after getting that treatment out, I think in Dubai. There are all number of visitors across the political divide who are visiting him there. And they were taking photos with him and just telling the country how he is. Now, that is not happening. And I know someone asked me, Kevin, why is it that we are not seeing photos of the deputy president? By the way, pause a minute, go to the comment section. Do you think it is advisable for Rigathi's handlers to share with us photos about his hospital bed? Do you think? Would it serve any purpose? Do you think? To my end, I think I enjoy that privacy. I think that privacy is something I support. Now today, a section of Kalenjin leaders led by the Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei, who initially had pledged allegiance towards the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, only to dump him at the Senate during the voting, attempted to go and visit, and they were blocked. And the Deputy President declined that invitation or that move, and they were turned away from visiting the Deputy President. I know this, and I can tell you for sure. I really analyzed that impeachment. When you look at some of those grounds mirrors high-profile infiltration of Rigathi Gachagua's inner circle. And from someone like Cherargei, who he was really hanging around Rigathi, and I said, Cherargei had not been in good terms with Ruto, especially with Murkomen and with Oscar Sudi. He's not been in good terms. But he kept, and of course, because that was also to happen, the country, he went and coalesced around the Deputy President. And Kenyans were asking, what exactly is his mission there? Today I can confirm that Cherargei was William Ruto's mole in Rigathi Gachagua's camp. Yes. And there are so many moles. At the time, up and I'm going to show you who else was actually blocked, and you will be shocked on really how that development happened. I think that was one of the moles that was coalescing around the Deputy President. And I can tell you that I know some people want to call Ruto chess master. I don't choose the word chess master. The president micromanaged all this. He micromanaged all this. Even these conservatory orders, all this was choreographed. Even the way this will go, all this was choreographed. And each and every step that Rigathi was making, the state was 4 steps ahead of him. Because that camp was fully infiltrated. I can tell you, no one has a price. If Raila Odinga had a handshake with William Ruto, and Raila Odinga is having a handshake with Uhuru Kenyatta, and Raila Odinga had a handshake with William Ruto, no one doesn't have a price. That for sure, I can say without fear of contradiction. So he was dispatched around Rigathi. The doctors, despite of them waiting for hours, was accompanied with some strange UDA faces there that had not even been supporting the deputy president. Some even abstained from that vote. Now, the plan has been, and let me say, at least take pictures with Rigathi, trivialize and discredit Rigathi's health issues, which has been drawing public sympathy. If you watch a couple of clips, there's some Kenyans that have been saying, what did it take? How inhuman are you that you had to impeach your deputy even in the hospital bed? That question has been there. And you know, Kenyans are emotionally attached to the downtrodden. Yes, that is that is human nature. Now, another section that also visited, the second delegation was from his Harambee House office. Remember, just today, there's a report that some 100, around, they're not 108, actually the list is 108, and that list is also exaggerated. The people that crafted that list, that unleashed that list, wanted to show the country. The reason why that list of 108 staff on working on Rigathi's office were unleashed is because they wanted to tell you how many Kikuyus are there, so that they can, they can fatten the point or the narrative that Rigathi Gachagua is only pro-Mulima. But the truth position is only 76 have been knocked out of Rigathi Gachagua's office. So I want to explain to you something here that I want us to get. That immediately that delegation was knocked out, part of them have been knocked out because they want to collect files here and there and just find out what's going on. But I think they goofed, because if you're telling us that Rigathi Gachagua have 76 staff, 108, then you want the country to get shocked. There's nothing to get shocked about, because that is the deputy president's office. How about the president's office? How about the ministers? It's only showing how government is wasteful. If someone unleashed that list so that you can tell us how the deputy president is tribal, then I think he got it wrong, because it mirrors what happens in government. It is not exclusive to the office of the deputy president. How about the office of the speaker? How about the Chief Justice office? How about the minority? How about the majority leader? How about all those other government offices? So it's something that really, to me, didn't shock. I didn't find it as a shocker. Someone should not make us believe that that one is unique. Now, that is the way they are conducting themselves. I wish Kenyans keep that list. So they left. Some went. In fact, all of them were sacked. But some also went to try to see Rigathi, and they were also blocked. I can tell you that even from that Harambee House office, some people can be picked. Can you go there? Because now, go as if tunataka kuona boss wenyu. And that was also declined. And that is quite in order. The most, this other two is very outrageous. Do you know that Dorcas Rigathi, the wife to the deputy president, has been so close to the clergy? In fact, the bridge between William Ruto and Mount Kenya churches was not Rachel. It was Dorcas. It was Dorcas. There are quite a number of Mount Kenya clergy who got to the president, and they established that just following the relationship, the Dorcas Rigathi. Now, in Rigathi Gachagua was going through these troubles, you did not see some of the church, this clergy, going even to pray in Karen. Someone was just telling me that, remember that church service where Rigathi Gachagua was asking for apology? They dispatched invitations previous day to some clergy just to go and pray with the deputy president. And that was organized by Dorcas Rigathi. Only for some clergy members, not even a single amongst those who were invited came And most of those who were in that hall were actually politicians and family members. So it didn't happen. Now, when Rigathi was hospitalized, of course, they made an attempt to reconcile the president and his deputy, and it failed. There was a delegation from church who also wanted to go and allegedly to pray with the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. And Dorcas stood his ground, and I support. Those men of cloth who are only going there seeking for favors, but not really pursuing the divine intervention in this case, should not move near the DP. And they were turned. And I can tell you that even from that, anyone going to see the DP, now, you know, when is impeached, you are stripped of power. When you're stripped of power, you're normally left as an ordinary citizen. And mtu akisikia kwamba umekubaliwa and you can get some information or two from Rigathi, you can be sent. That team was also turned away. I'm also told there's one former cabinet secretary that has not been revealed. A former cabinet secretary who worked with the former regime, but has also been working with William Ruto. You can do your guess. He has worked with William Ruto at some point. You can make your guess. Also tried to get access, but that was not allowed. Now, the last of all is Mutahi Kahiga. I'm also understanding that Mutahi Kahiga, a close ally of the deputy president, was also blocked from Karen Hospital. Since the doctors prescribed 3 days that they are going to watch, or rather they're going to monitor Rigathi for 72 hours, there has been high profile push from the other sources for Rigathi to be discharged. And the understanding is that DP will be flown out of the country for treatment, and that will make the process, the legal process, that will stagger the legal process, as has been the case. So most interesting part of it is that someone wants Rigathi to be discharged. I don't know why. I don't know why. If he's sick, he's sick. You know, why Rigathi is very cautious with those who are visiting him now, and he needs to. There are a contingent of people that are just dispatched to spy on him, and they're spying on what his lawyers are planning to tell the court. I'm telling you that Rigathi Gachagua's impeachment was infiltrated by the state, and a step that Rigathi was making, the state was 4 steps ahead, and probably the sickness was an eventuality that no one envisioned, maybe. So they want to know, what are the lawyers planning? What do they want to do? In fact, if you check Twitter page for Robert Alai. Robert Alai was running a narrative just this evening that Rigathi Gachagua is organizing goons to stop those who want to evict him from Karen. Now, if there is something that happened well, and I want to say this, you know, the expectation was that if Rigathi was going to be impeached, that there would be some protests in Mount Kenya and this and there. Now, if those protests will come, you know, Rigathi was impeached, the mountain was calm. And so they thought, fine, because it's calm, I think they have accepted that impeachment. If protests would be in Madeira and where, they would say that Rigathi Gachagua is the one that has been organizing protests. So I think if Rigathi's supporters decided to keep calm, that was the best. And then 2 things happened. Immediately, just within 10 hours, Kithure Kindiki's name was already in parliament. Only Tharaka Nithi celebrated. And so the other areas were calm. No one is talking about it. Everyone continued their work. The truth of the matter is not that they are comfortable, but they didn't just bother. They don't want, they say, you know, ashafanya hiyo ni yake, so we'll also do our part. That is it. And the silence, the calmness in the mountain is giving deep state big headache. What do the people think? You know, when people celebrate, you know. When people protest, you know. You manage protest. But on silence, you don't know what to do. You can't know the next step. Because they never celebrated Kindiki. Neither did they protest Rigathi. And that was a good place for the country to be. Someone was making a joke that try to place Raila where Rigathi was. You would be seeing a different scenario, and I agree. There are reports of some poisoning. Do you remember? There were reports that between Parliament and the Harambee House, that Thursday, that he could have been poisoned. There were those reports. So you never know. You never know. Even as they speak, you never know. There's so many other cards that can be on table. Now, before I think, Rigathi is also cautious on those who are going by his hospital bed because of the colossal leakage of the Rigathi secrets. Let me tell you, that impeachment was a lot of secrets. You know, a secret agreement between Rigathi and that Njomo. I don't know, Rigathi went to London, and that was a propaganda by my governor. In my other life, I think I should be a lawyer, because lawyers are liars, by the way. They lie a lot. Huh? And please, lawyers, forgive me here, but a lie is one of the tools of winning cases. Huh? They have a lot. I think there is a lot of manipulation, and the tool for manipulation is lying. Huh? And my governor spoke about, you know, Rigathi went to hospital bed and forced the late brother to sign it. There's so many other street talk, some pedestrian talk. So he realized that there was a lot of leakage on his end. And the other thing is, security was withdrawn. So Rigathi is more exposed. That's also something you need to take. Immediately that decision was made, his security was withdrawn. Now, let me finish by saying, where Ruto's handlers are keen on Rigathi Gachagwa's current admission. Why are they keen? Why do they want Rigathi to be discharged? This is what I see. There is a high probability that the lawyers that are litigating this matter on the side of Rigathi would actually use that situation to drag the court process. If court insists that Rigathi has to be heard, and at the same time Rigathi is ill, what do you do? What do you do? you know, there's been this discussion about 10 line. What do you do? You condemn and hard? Then probably what will happen is the state will proceed with swearing in. But Rigathi will still go back to court. And one thing you'll get back is probably his political rights and say, I was unfairly dismissed. But because this is a political process, they will only relieve you so that you enjoy your political rights. So they really want Rigathi out. So that at least when that report is out, do you know that even the day David Gikonyo was giving the health updates on the deputy president, that report ought to have been given by the president. And even that press briefing, someone was saying that that press briefing was enough. He must not give 100, and that video can be played on court, in court, to say that the senior doctor in Karen said this and this, and then that video is played in court. So it must not even be around the written document, even though that will be there. Number two, the Rigathi's family can use the situation to fly Rigathi out of the country. You never know. Maybe, I saw Kalwale, someone saying, you know, Rigathi now need to face criminal charges outside. After he's impeached, some of those charges now need to face criminal charges. And that is a part of what Ruto will put. Because when Ruto he may not stop at impeachment, by the way. He may not stop at impeachment. It can continue, and Rigathi will be dragged to court every Friday, kamata arrest, and then he's fully condemned. So that they try to convince the country that this was a bad man. Because they know whenever he's arrested, the cameras will be heading to court, and they would try to litigate against Rigathi. And so if Rigathi leaves the country, you never know, he can leave the country and going like for treatment, but then he stays away for years, only to come back when at a point he can be able to enjoy his political rights and really shake the country. there is the lack of appearance, lack of the public appearance by Rigathi is already causing panic. You know, Rigathi's supporters are also asking, where is he? Where is he? Ruto mempeleka wapi? And I can tell you that Rigathi cannot go, Ruto will not go to the mountain before Rigathi makes a public appearance. You will have to drag Rigathi out of that hospital so that Rigathi can make a public appearance. Because whenever you go out, you'll be asked, where is the DP? Where is the DP? And if there is an attempt to leave, the deep state will not feel comfortable. I think there's a plan to evict him from current residence. Yes, there is a plan to evict him from current residence, and they would really want that at least you don't evict him when he's in the hospital bed. Probably that is there. Between Sunday and Monday, it will be very interesting on the report that the doctors are going to give as the state tries to push. But on decision to stop those, there's no need of them now flocking current hospital, shopping for sympathy and trying now to associate with him because he's downtrodden. But when he needed their support, they were not there. There is no need of them going to win some political points for no apparent reason. That is really something that probably his team are soaking on. And I think the other issue that I also realized is he's so cautious around him because there's been an attempt to try to project that he's planning protests. Yes, is that an attempt? So this will be interesting to see how this plays. But of course, the decision to block some of those emissaries is critically important because his camp is infiltrated. Thank you.